Howdy peeps. Hard to see. My battery's almost dead, so I can't turn the flash on. It's time to move to a new phone. I've had enough of the bullshit with this phone not having enough battery for anything anymore. We're going to be on the bathroom wall down there, and conventionally this house has a double top plate on the wall the way that it should have, and I'm fairly certain that the bathroom is an original bathroom. I mean, as opposed to this closet that we discovered had been added at a later time, and you know, it was made of drywall, and there's a witness mark on the floor, on the hardwood, rather than it being bare subfloor under the walls. Over here, in the case of the bathroom, it's got things like this vintage window. You know, it's the age of the home. Somebody's put this vinyl stuff on here, but this glass, this one must have broken when these slide and hit the sash falls down by accident. But this is vintage glass in here, and this style, you know, I can't do it because you have to pinch them both at the same time, pick it up and down. This cam locking window is all, you know, it's a bathroom window, which makes this the bathroom that's always been here. And so with that, I can be sure, for the most part, that this wall, for all intents and purposes, is framed just as the rest of the conventional framing is in here, with a double top plate. And then it has a header in there that's probably a 2x6. And then there's a small gap, and the person that framed this put a couple blocks of lumber in there. So really, it's solid wood all the way down. And so that's enough bearing for me. If we start feeling or hearing problems, or the door stops working, or this gap, you know, at the top, once again, that you can't see because we have no lights in here, is changing or jamming or anything like that, well, before I take this stuff away, I can pick up on it a little bit more again, and I can make some more changes. Because we're going to take all the other support out of here and just leave what we're doing as a permanent beam before we go covering anything with drywall, and that'll be the time when we can establish whether or not we've got what we need in here. Just as a insurance policy, basically. I'm not really that worried overall. So we'll be up on that down there, and we won't be using a joist hanger because we're going to be right on top of the whole thickness of the wall. And over here, we did, as I said, we added our block of 2x4 to the top of the jack that was here for the old door opening. The jack that was here for the old header, for the old door opening, like that one. He is a little bit smaller overall. Nowadays, 2x4 is 3.5 by 1.5. It used to be 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And, you know, the first round of changes they made to finishing the lumber. Anyway, he's a little bit smaller overall than everybody here. It's hard to really appreciate on this phone, but, and in here too, see that, how it sticks out right there, and so I cut that back here. Anyway, this is solid wood now all the way down to the beam in the basement and the corresponding jack post. So we can be on here. Ah, geez, no light again. We had this double like header for this opening, for the stairwell. In my opinion, you don't need two of these sitting on the edge up here. So I cut the first one back flush. So now we can come all the way, we can come all the way up, come on light, we can come all the way up on here, 3 inches or more, 3.5, with the one shorter LVL, and the other one can go right on past the end of this other header board, and I may even like screw them with nice 4-inch screws or something right into the end grain of these, just for laughs. But we'll really have nice purchase here. And the reason I didn't feel that was necessary to be doubled, it's good rule of thumb to double it on your way across an opening like this. But if we unzip, we can see that all that's here is, you know, this knee wall for the upstairs. You know what I mean? The stairway goes around and it goes over there, and that's all it's sitting on there. So it's not as though the wall continues up, and we need to go investigating upstairs as to whether or not there's anything up to the ridge or anything like that. It's just not, didn't need to be that heavy, so I made myself some room. It's an exact 11 feet, which I don't normally talk feet, I normally talk inches, from tight down there to the side of this, you know, the shorter component that we're going to make for the 2-piece beam is 11 feet. So I'm basically ready to cut one and see if there's any which way I can weasel it in there. I'm comfortable cutting the right length, because if it needs to be cut into 2 pieces, well, now all I have to do is select a place, you know, to do so, to cut it in half. It really won't be in half. We'll do it, like I said, sort of on one in thirds, but 2/3 to one side and 1/3 to the other. So that's so that our seam on one piece is toward one end and our seam on the other piece is toward the other end, and there's just a lot of engagement. I may even go so far as to do it in quarters, cut a quarter off of both pieces, put them up almost entirely, you know, send the long pieces to either end as far as they'll go, and then add a little piece, supplemental piece to that afterward. Excuse me. Yeah, goes right along quickly. So long as we get that up in there, then we can throw our hangers around all the ends of our joists, and then we just got a million of those hanger nails to put in. I use the battery palm nailer to run those in, because it's just swinging a hammer over your head, just buttoning up one joist hanger or two overhead. Down below, when you're standing over them, is one thing. You could do a half dozen or so, and then take a break and then do another half dozen. But overhead, you might do one the first time or maybe two. But after you get into a rhythm, you really only get through half or a third of one without having to take a rest or switch hands. It's a pain. So maybe I'm just a weakling, but why don't you go do it, and then you get back to me and let me know in the comment section how easy it was. Anyway, we're ready to do that, and then when we come back, we'll be looking at taking some of this other stuff down, and then as well as taking this out of here too. So, all right, catch you when we're ready to do that.